Congrats on your orders to Las Vegas. If you're headed to Nellis or Creech, here's the truth. Pick the wrong on rent versus buy, and you could leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table. Pick right, and that money stays in your pocket. Stick with me, and within the next 60 seconds, I'll show you how to decide using your BAH, and later, I'll run some real numbers for a staff sergeant and a captain, and plus simply the 6-question framework to help lock you in on the right move. I'm Eric Hudson. I'm a retired Air Force officer who was stationed up at Creech, and I'm a real estate agent here in the Las Vegas area. And for the past 12 years, I've been helping my fellow military personnel, just like you, do exactly what you want to do, which is move to the Las Vegas area. And I know that you're excited while simultaneously stressed, trying to make the smartest moves possible in a new market. This is one of the videos that I have in my series about our military community, and today we will cover the current Las Vegas market and how to use your BAH and the power of your VA loan, some realistic rank-based scenarios, and some clear decision frameworks to help you out. If that sounds useful, hit like so more military families like you can get helped out and they can find this. And also, you got that new hype feature on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that if you find this useful. By the end of this video, you'll have the clarity to move forward with confidence. And let's go ahead and get started, and let's not waste any more of your time. Those of you who don't know and haven't looked at a map yet, or Google Maps, of course, Nellis Air Force Base sits in the northeast side of the valley, northeast of Las Vegas, off the I-15, and hosts the U.S. Air Force Warfare Center. Have roughly 12,000 personnel there. Creech Air Force Base sits up in the desert, about 45 miles northwest of Las Vegas in Indian Springs, and it's the epicenter of the RPA community, which is what I did while I was stationed here. And if you live in the main part of the Las Vegas metro, the commute to Creech can take about 45 minutes each way, where most of you guys will be living. Many Creech families choose to live up in the northwest. Again, that's about 35 to 45 minutes according to what part of the northwest that you're going to be living in. So here's the factors that are going to drive this entire decision. Your tour length. A lot of you are not going to know that because some of the guys, they end up staying here for a long time, especially at Creech. You may end up rotating to the schoolhouse down at Holloman or something, or you may just end up staying here. Most stateside assignments run 3 to 4 years, and that window is often the sweet spot where buying could become financially attractive. Long enough to build some equity and potentially to see some appreciation. And it can still be manageable if you need to sell when you PCS or possibly turn it into an investment. So especially if you're going to stay in the RPA community, there is a good chance you're going to rotate back. I've seen a lot of people rotate back, especially if you're going to Creech. Quick personal note, when you get your orders to Creech or Nellis, you're going to really want to run some of these rent versus buy scenarios to see whether or not it's going to work for you. Having a plan, and that's going to really cut out your stress, and it's just going to make it a much easier decision that's going to make it obvious for your family. On-base housing, that is privatized through the Nellis Family Housing and offers several communities. And of course, we got jets flying over. I guess they're flying out north. I can hear the afterburners right now, so jet noise, the sound of freedom, just as I'm trying to record. So many service members prefer the space and flexibility and long-term upside of living off base. That's what we're exploring today. How to make the most of your allowances in the civilian market. So here's a freshness note. I'm using the latest available data for mid-2025. Most of this is going to carry into 2026, and I'll update these figures in the pinned comments and possibly may put out another video, but keep a lookout for the pinned comments. We'll try to keep that updated for you as everything moves along throughout 2026, and definitely in 2027. I'm going to put something out new for you. So keep an eye out for that. The market has shifted more towards a balanced, almost a buyer's market lately. Single family homes right now range between about 480, 485. It kind of dances around right now. It's been really steady for most of the year. Inventory is actually way up. It's roughly 70% year over year. The months of supply, they're approaching 5 months. So technically we're in a balanced market, but it's been so long since we've had this much inventory on the market that it just really feels like a buyer's market. You will have so much choice when you PCS here. Quick explainer, the months of supply tells you how long it would take you to sell if all the current listings were to just stop and then they would just keep selling at the present pace. So it'll take about 4 or 5 months to sell everything we had now. If nobody took their homes off the market, nothing else were to come back on the market. The traditional formula is under 5 or 6 months. Right now, under 3 months is a seller's market. We've gone a long way from the old traditional standards. So kind of the new standard is 4 to 6 months is considered balanced. In all honesty, anything over 3 months, because people have just gotten spoiled by the old market and what we've had for the last 10 years. So consider this a buyer's market, okay? You have a lot of breathing room when you're coming here to buy right now, because sellers just don't know how to handle taking 3 and 4 months to sell their homes. So you're going to be able to get a lot of stuff right now. Looking into 2026, most forecasts suggest steady appreciation around 3 or 4% still, even with all this inventory. Market rates are expected to be near probably the low 6s, maybe down into the high 5s. So we're way down from those peaks where we're in the 7s and the 8s. So a lot of savings, but to be honest, we're still too high. With more inventory, sellers are negotiating very good with you. Price reductions, concessions. Sometimes you can even get rate buy downs. And if you're dealing with new homes, definitely rate buy downs. The rental market has changed too. The average rent sitting near $19.50 for a typical family home, off from the 2022 peak when it was really hard to get into a decent home. Most rental inventory gives you a good bit of leverage to negotiate your terms. You get some modest upgrades or maybe even a free month. Go ahead and give it a try. You have leverage going into 2026. It's going to be strange to hear this from a real estate agent, but hey, I'm here to look out for my brothers and sisters and their families. Don't rush. Negotiate for credits, a rate buy down. If you're going out there renting, negotiate for more favorable lease terms. Bottom line, whether you rent or buy, you're entering into a favorable time right now with more options and negotiations power. So let's ground the decision on what your BAH is. For the Las Vegas area, BAH is strong and is generally aligned with the local housing costs. So we are ballparking BAH with dependents. We're looking at E1s at about $19.80 up to about $2,700 for chiefs. Now we have warrant officers. I haven't even looked at that. I don't even know if we have any warrant officers assigned here yet, because that's so new. Second lieutenants starting at about $2,300 up to about $3,600 for 06s, but most 06s live on base. What does that mean in the real world? A staff sergeant, that's about $2,130. So you can run a nice solid 3-bedroom home here for about $2,000. With a VA loan, you can possibly get into a $450,000 home, and that lands you about $2,100, maybe to $2,200 a month, including the taxes and insurance. If you're getting into a new home because of the rate buy downs, that could be getting you into a $500,000, $525,000 house. For a captain, that's $2,550. That could rent you a 4-bedroom home, which is about $2,400. Or you can buy a median price home, which is, like I said, the $480,000, $485,000 range, which could possibly get you almost up to $600,000 with payments of $2,500 to $2,600. So here's your nice little strategy tip. If your mortgage payments is lower than your BAH, you keep the difference tax-free, but you probably know that. Over 3 to 4 years, that can add up, especially since your BAH goes up, and with BAH protection, if BAH does go down, your BAH does not go down. For those of you who don't know, because I can remember when BAH first went down when I was at McConnell Air Force Base, and that was shocking, and then they passed a law for BAH protection. It was like, whew, got that money back. So stay with me. Right after that, we'll run some really good numbers for staffs and captains, and some math so you can see some stuff like kind of side by side. We're going to try to put together a buy versus rent checklist. I'm working on that. By the time this is edited and out to you, hopefully that should be pinned down the comments for you, or at least in the description, so you can grab that free of charge. Why would I charge for that? It mirrors the framework that we're about to use. Now, if you watch the whole bunch of your friends in the Air Force build wealth through real estate, then maybe the timing can make sense for you. Buying can be a very powerful move, especially with the VA loan. So let's go into some of the highlights of the VA loan. Well, it's 0 down. So you can start building equity immediately. There is no PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, which for a conventional loan, which you would have to pay if you put down less than 20%. That saves you anywhere from $200 to $400 a month compared to not putting down 20%. It's got a competitive interest rate, which means a lower interest rate, usually about 1/4 to 0.5% lower than a conventional loan. Got flexible credit guidelines. Let's tie this together with 6 questions. 1, how long is your assignment? If it's about 3 years or more, this may favor buying. 2 years or less, definitely considers renting. 2, what's your credit score? If it's 600 or higher, you can be in very good shape for VA. Also, you may want to consider renting for rebuilding. Be very careful. A lot of landlords around here only consider 640s and above, but they may give you consideration because you're in the military, because they always know they can go to your commander. 3, if you have an emergency fund, aim for 3 to 6 months of living expenses before buying. 4, are you ready for homeowner responsibilities? If you want simplicity, renting may be the better choice. 5, what are your long-term goals? Career military, might want to keep property as rentals. Separating soon, may call for more flexibility. 6, do you want to be a landlord later? If not, be confident you can sell when you PCS. Want a one-page checklist? Comment checklist and grab the free download from the pinned comments. 2 pitfalls to watch right now: overestimating how much house your BH will comfortably support after utilities and insurance, under budgeting for move-in essentials in your first 60 to 90 days. The checklist should cover both. I hope this gave you some clarity and confidence for your move to Las Vegas in 2026 and what that offers, even for the end of the year. If you'd like a free no obligation consult to run the numbers and get a personalized market read for moving to Nellis or Creech, my information is in the description and the pinned comment, of course. I read as many comments as I can. Tell me which base you're headed to, or if you're headed to one of the other bases, but I'm sure you can't tell me, and what questions you're wrestling with right now. Be sure to subscribe so you can see the rest of the videos in this, and of course that new hype feature, so other military members can discover this content, especially for the family members that you're trying to find out everything there is to know about Las Vegas. And if you have been to my channels before, you know what I'm going to say to my military brothers and sisters. You know the drill. Alpha Mike Foxtrot. And by now there should be enough videos where you can see the rest of them popping up, especially as I put more videos on this channel. YouTube says one that's popping up is the one that you want to see. So I'm going to meet you over there, and you're going to learn more about your PCS move to Las Vegas.